If you are going to take the SAT, this is the right video to watch. Today, I'm going to interview our expert, SAT expert. Could you please introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Jolita Koruklu. Yeah. Shall I tell the name?
Yeah. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I've been a teacher for over 20 years now. The last 4 or 5 years, I've been focusing on SAT. And I did observe this whole transition from paper-based SAT to digital one. And, now it's a hot topic. Yeah. This March, actually, a few weeks ago, we just had the first digital SAT and things were drastically.
That's so good. All right. I'm going to also go over the format of the video. For this video, we're going to also play this game. So when I ask a question, I have to take one of them away. And I'll interview you. I'll ask questions, as many questions as possible, till it just falls down.
And then?
Then we will just finish the video. So before I ask the first question, I'm going to go over the next one. But let me just start it. I'm going to go over the easy one. And, okay. Now, all right, tell us about SAT. What is SAT? Because a lot of people have heard the name of SAT, but they don't know what it is.
Well, SAT, S stands for Scholastic, A for Aptitude, a T test. Well, as you know, the last few years, things have been changing. And in the past, it was used to, students would take SAT tests to use in their application for universities, which was required by many internet universities, especially in the USA, and many universities in other foreign countries were also accepting it. However, things have changed since last year. Many universities do not require SAT. But I do believe taking a SAT is important simply because it looks better on your application. It's not a must, but having various certificates, showing your brand personality is always a bonus. Because usually this university is now looking not your just grades, but also your personality, overall personality. So therefore, many students do choose to take SAT simply to show that they know certain things, they are good at certain vocabulary, they have certain skills that show that they're ready for the university. And in addition to that, all this information together they're actually using for applying to universities.
That's great. All right, it's your turn then.
Oh, am I supposed to do that as well? I must confess, I've never played this game.
Yeah, you should just touch one of them.
Oh, really?
You can move
But if I move this now, it'll drop, so I cannot do that.
Yeah, that's very good. And then you put it on top of it.
So your integrity will finish. But trust me, after, if I have to take another one, the interview will be done.
I'm hopeful that we can just play a bit longer. All right.
I'll try.
Now, could you tell us about the format of the SAT?
Well, the digital SAT now is made of 2 main modules, and each part, there are 2 main parts, English and math part. And each part is comprised of 2 modules. So in English and in math, the students have to work with 2 different modules. The first modules are very standard, so they are just showing what skills and what knowledge they have. Whereas the second module becomes adaptive. So based on their performance in the first part, in the first module, you will have the questions accordingly. If you did well, you'll get more complex questions. If you did worse or not as good as SAT test makers expect you, they will give you easier questions. So when I talked to the students after the exam, after the first SAT exam, I had this mixed idea. Some of them saying that the tests was extremely easy, whereas the others were saying it was difficult. So easy and difficult now actually doesn't really reveal you was the overall test easy or difficult, because if it was very easy, maybe they didn't do well in the first part. If it was difficult, so maybe that's a good thing, because it means the first part was quite, they did well the first part. So nowadays, I think the teachers, the tutors in general will have more questions because we don't have any material. And it's difficult to judge what kind of test because nobody knows the test questions. All we have is just whatever is provided by College Board.
Yeah.
The full practice test, some material on in Khan Academy, and that's it.
All right, that's very good. So we have 2 online resources, Khan Academy and also College Board, to rely on their resources.
That's exactly what we have.
That's good.
That's all.
Before I move to the next one, let me see. I played it once, so I'm good. All right. Now, my next question. You said that we don't have enough materials because it's a new version of the SAT. But imagine that we have a student who wants to take the SAT. What approach should that student take to reach their goal in the SAT, even without having enough material?
Again, I mean, we just need to wait for 1 or 2 months. I think in summer, most of the publishing houses are releasing their versions. Princeton, Barron's, they all are releasing their material either this summer or next year. So those who are taking this year, well, unfortunately, they will have to use what we have. But those who are taking SATs next year, they are in a better situation because they will have more materials to use. But if you are a student who is planning to take, let's say, a test in May or June, because there's an additional test in June or August, you have to work with what you have. So I would say, let's see, math exam didn't really change drastically. So even previous resources are more or less can be used. When it comes to English, I'm talking about this in the past was language and writing sessions. So like all the standard conventions of English, they can also use the same material because the same rules, the same conventions are going to be applied. I mean, they'll be tested in digital SAT. Yeah. Whereas the reading part is a bit different. There are some new questions that have been introduced. So therefore, they'll have to work. On the other hand, it is all about your reading skills, all your analytical skills, like all your logical thinking, critical thinking. And as most tutors say, you don't really need to know anything prior to the test. All you need is to be a good reader, have a decent academic vocabulary, and that's it. Because if you read a lot, you will be able to gain those skills naturally. However, to read what? Reading Instagram posts will not really, or social media posts will not build your vocabulary. You have to choose proper materials, professional materials, and variety of materials. So not just classic literature, but also historical texts, social sciences. Read magazines like serious magazines, serious websites, serious articles. That would help you to do both things, build your vocabulary, understand the topics, and that all those things combined will help you to ace the SAT.
Oh, that's really good. Great tips. All right, your turn. Before I ask my next question.
I go with,
It's up to
should
you.
be using one finger, right?
Yes, that's right. All right, that's very good. Bravo, well done.
Did.
Great job. All right. Now, you talked about also some websites that students can use. And now imagine that I don't have enough language skills to take the SAT. What would be the approach for a person who has, for example, let's say B1 level English or B2 level English? What would be your suggestion for them?
Well, first of all, start building vocabulary. That's it. Well, one of the differences between the old paper-based SAT and digital SAT is that it does test your vocabulary. So it means we're going back to this, old times when we were studying words and flashcards and stuff. Because when a few years ago, SAT was telling you it's not checking actually directly your vocabulary, so you don't really need, you just have to understand the meaning of the word from the context. Well, the same thing does apply, but you have to have good vocabulary to proceed, to be able to understand, to be able to find those clues in the text. Even though the texts are way shorter, I mean, just one paragraph text, but the clues are there. But if you do not know the meaning of the words, it will be quite challenging. And the vocabulary questions, they make, I would say, like 25-30% of the whole text. And that can actually make you fail if you don't answer them. That's a lot. So therefore, start building your vocabulary, and we should still apply all those skills that are necessary for vocabulary building. Reading, practicing, revising, practicing, revising, and learning. Flashcards, word games, whatever works for you to build your vocabulary.
All right, that's good. Great suggestion. All right, it's my turn. Let me see. Hopefully it works.
We're going by rules, right?
Yes.